What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Still haven't had a chance to get my hair cut, but as soon as I'm done with this video, we're going to go back inside and knock this down. Now, I was tagged by my man, Willie, at the Million Mile Man. Check out his YouTube channel. I'm going to leave a link to his channel up here in this iCard. Just click on that. That'll take you directly to his channel. And what I was tagged to do was a video on my scariest moments in trucking. Now, he had got tagged by a channel that I'm kind of unfamiliar with, and it's a female trucker. Her trucking channel name, I think, is Cat. Whatever it is, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna leave a link to her channel up here as well. So click on that link and that'll take you to her channel, which is the channel that originated this. Now, I have 4 specific things I want to talk about as far as my scariest moments. But the first one I want to mention is just more of an honorable mention more than an actual scary moment. And that was the moment that I almost chose to go with Night Transportation over Prime Inc. Wasn't scary at the time, but looking back on it now, it actually scares me that I almost made that decision. But let's get on to those scariest moments. Now, 2 of these almost would have ended my trucking career, but we'll get to those last. So, first one I want to talk about was I had picked up a load at, I think it was Nestle, somewhere out in Wisconsin. Now, this had to have been sometime around February-ish, or it had to be somewhere around February, because Chicago had just got an ice storm. And I just got off the phone with another friend of mine that has a cooking YouTube channel by the name of Everyday Barbecue. I'm going to throw a link to his channel in this iCard up here. Click on that if you're into that barbecue and cooking lifestyle. Take a look at his channel. But we were on the phone and he was telling me something about an ice storm that the Chicago area had just got, and to be careful and all this kind of stuff. So I get out driving in Wisconsin. Things are fine. It's a little slick. You know, this is probably around when I got loaded, probably around 1 or 1 a.m., somewhere around there. So it's morning time and extremely cold. Streets and highways are pretty icy. So I'm getting some good traction, really not thinking about it. So I kind of get into this Chicago area and I need to take one of these ramps. It's kind of like a circle ramp. And I'm coming around the ramp, you know, I have my speed somewhere around 15 miles an hour due to the conditions, and all of a sudden my trailer starts sliding down the ramp. So I'm heading straight, my trailer starts kind of sliding down this ramp. So being from Colorado, I do kind of know how to handle those situations. I kind of steered into that and kind of avoided it, but what was scary about that wasn't just what actually happened, because there's no cars around. It was the fact, or what scared me was what could have happened if there was a car next to me, because this was a roundabout that had 2 lanes on it. So that was a moment that would kind of rank as one of my scariest moments. Really not that scary. I haven't really had too many scary moments, but that's one that I kind of think about. Now, the next one I did a video on, this is a little bit funnier, but this goes back to my TNT training days. And actually, you know what? Yeah, it goes back to my TNT training days. We get a load, I forget where it's coming from, but it's going through Birmingham, Alabama, which is kind of the area that my trainer was from, so we were going to kind of post up there for the night. Now, he had somebody coming to pick him up, so we were trying to get to this truck stop as soon as possible. So somewhere around Memphis on, like, I think that's Highway 78. I think it turns into the 22 or 20 or something like that. Anyway, it's that highway that goes between Memphis and, like, Birmingham. All of a sudden, my stomach starts rumbling, and I know I'm about to be in for a bad day. Now, I'm trying to hold on to this as much as I can, because I know my trainer has somebody that's supposed to be meeting him out there to pick him up. So I'm doing a good job holding this, but maybe about 5 miles out, I'm thinking we're like a critical mass right here. My contractions are like 30 seconds apart, and I know it's about to come. I'm just thinking about what to name it. So I'm pulling into this truck stop. The only thing on my mind is, dropping this load, if you know what I mean. So I'm trying to park this thing as fast as possible. So I come into the truck stop, and I'm coming in hot. And I'm coming around the corner, and there's a truck that's parked on the end. And I'm not sure if that was a legal spot he was in or not, but I'm coming around the corner. All I could think about is getting to that back row where I know there's some empty spots so I could park this and run inside. And I don't have any concept of this truck I should have had an idea, but I really wasn't thinking about this truck that was parked on this end spot. So I'm coming around the corner, and I almost clipped this truck. Now, the truck honked at me, which might have saved me. I think I might have cleared it, but either way, it was going to be too close for comfort. Now, the part that's scary about this wasn't the fact that I almost hit this truck in this truck stop. The scariest part about this was that I almost shit my pants, and I haven't done that since I was like 2 years old. So that was a scary moment. Now, let's get to some kind of more serious things. The couple that almost ended my trucking career. So the first one was going to be was going to be something that I was going to kind of voluntarily give up on trucking. I was in TNT training as well. I was with my first trainer, and this trainer never told me how to use engine brakes, none of that stuff. So we have a load in this going to Pennsylvania. And I'm not talking about 80 or any of those major highways that are running through Pennsylvania. We're on some little off-brand state route out there. And all it is hills and curves. And I really don't know how to operate these engine brakes, so I'm driving pretty erratic, and I'm not sure how the truck's going to handle these corners and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, it was just so mentally exhausting that I just ended up having to pull over in this rest area and basically told that trainer, I can't go any further. Had I known how to use, the descent control and, the Jake brakes and all that stuff, I would have been good to go. But kind of the way I got over that was I finally just had to look at things kind of logically. And I was saying, okay, if these trucks that were in front of me this whole time are able to hold these curves and they're able to do this speed and all this kind of stuff, then my truck should be able to do it as well. I know that our trucks are going to be, have better tires, we're running better equipment, all this kind of stuff. So if they're doing it, I could do it. And then the next day that I was driving through that same area, just the opposite direction, I just basically in my mind had to say, I'm going to have to run it. You know what I'm saying? So I took what little he told me about these engine brakes, and then I just said, you know what? Either I put this in the side of the mountain and I get fired for putting it in the side of the mountain, or I overcome my fear by just running it. So I kind of overcame my fear by just kind of running it. But that was, I mean, literally at that moment when I had hit that night, because it was raining, hills, all that stuff in Pennsylvania, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to continue on with my trucking career. And, looking back on it now, I mean, it's hard for me to even comprehend that something like that was that stressful on me, but that was like real at that moment. So that was another scary moment for me. The last one is a little bit more serious, and this would have been ending my trucking career, not by choice, but I am somewhere in Missouri, yep, and I'm leaving this truck stop. Now, there was a truck that was broke down in this turn lane that was going to be coming into this truck stop. So when I had to make this left turn to leave, I had to swing wider than I normally would have to get out of there. So as I did that, I'm coming around that corner, and it had been raining. The ground had been saturated, but, Well, okay, so it's been raining, ground was saturated. When I come around the corner, I'm leaving the actual pavement, and it looks just like any other, like, gravel type stuff that you might deal with on a day-to-day basis. But as I come around that corner, my trailer, or not my trailer, my truck goes off the pavement into this kind of gravel area, and I guess under this gravel was just like pure mud. So I come around, right tire hits it, and the whole truck just slides down this hill, right? So I am completely in this ditch. First thing on my mind was, I'm gonna be embarrassed to have to pay $2,500 or whatever a tow is to get this thing out. But as I look back, I'm looking and the trailer is tilted and up on two wheels. So I'm like, okay, this is a little bit serious. So I just can't back out the way you would normally back out, because that was gonna create it was gonna actually tilt the trailer more than it had to be. So I ended up having to kind of straighten up the trailer as much as I could in this ditch, but I really wasn't getting traction. But I was able to kind of get it a little bit straighter, and then I started backing out. Wasn't getting any traction. So luckily, when I was in TNT training with my second trainer, I had asked him what this button was on the dash, and he didn't even know what it was. So I got in the owner's manual and looked it up, and it was the interlocking axle button. So I hit that button, backed out, got some traction, and as I'm backing out, I'm having to kind of maneuver my cab so that the trailer kind of doesn't jackknife any more than it already is. So anyway, I get out of that situation, and for about the next hour of driving, I'm like extremely nervous. And just thankful that I didn't dump that trailer. But there's some, when I was in that ditch thinking about what was going on or what my plan was going to be, I'd kind of ran a quick calculation in my head that there was an 80% chance that that trailer was gone. So anyway, that was a scary moment, because that would have been a career ender right there. Some honorable mentions would be when the car hit me in St. Louis on I-70. I forget what exit that is, right when you're going east, or not eastbound. Yes, you're going eastbound, right before you hit like the arch on 70, stuff like that. That was an honorable mention. And another honorable mention, driving through Nebraska, maybe last December, it had to be January. I'm driving a load to get home. I'm going to be dropping it in Cheyenne. It's whiteout conditions. Well, it's not whiteout conditions. It's actually not bad conditions. But as trucks passed you up, it kicked up all the snow and basically blinded you. So at that point, I was kind of using my Peterbilt GPS as kind of, I was kind of using that to kind of navigate. But I really haven't had too many seriously scary moments as far as trucking goes. But those are my scariest moments in trucking. I'm going to tag a few people to kind of continue this going. First person I want to tag would be, let's go somebody outside of Prime. I'm going to think about Tom Bell with Millis. Tom, go ahead and knock out a video on that. We're going to stay outside of Prime on this as well, because everybody's calling me a Prime fanboy. So let's go with Trucker Avocado. He is with CFI, and I'm going to leave a link to both their channels in these iCards up here as well. And then who else am I going to go with? Let's give some thought on this. I'm hesitating over here like I'm the Million Mile Man. I don't know, do I stick with Prime or do I get outside of Prime? You know what, let's just stick with those three right there. So I got Curtis Barnes, Trike Rider Trucking, Trucker Avocado, and Tom Bell over at Millis. Anyway, you guys go ahead and throw up some of your skate. As a matter of fact, I know Trucker Avocado has a story he could talk about because I spoke with him on the phone right after one of the things that I know he's going to bring up as one of his scariest moments. So anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I'm going to come up here I'm going to come in here, cut this hair back right quick, and then come up with some ideas for my cooking channel. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.